Okay, so I prepared these examples in combinational circuit of resistors para mas madali at mas mapadali maintindihan nyo yung mga kung paano siya isolve yung combinational circuit ng resistors. Combinational circuit because there's parallel design and or connection, parallel connection and series connection in one circuit. So let's solve for number 1. I'm not really going to solve it, but I will explain how you should start solving a combinational circuit of resistors. So first, since andito yung source, you have to start here. So your solving must be from right to left because andito yung source. Pero pag in other cases, kapag nandito yung source sa right, tapos nandito yung complicated circuit, yun yung paliitin nyo muna. I-combine nyo yung complicated circuit to make it simple. Tapos, ang direction ng inyong pag-solve is papunta dun sa source. So, in this case, we're going to solve from right towards left. So, let's start with R4. As you can see, merong connection dito sa gitna. Merong another circuit which is the R3. Kung naging mahirap lang siya tingnan kasi nga nag-diagonal siya. Pero pag straight mo yan, tapos ito extend mo dito, it's the same parallel circuit. So, the R4 and R3 are in parallel connection. So, iparallel natin sila. Let's say this parallel R4 and R3 is RP. RP1. Resistors parallel 1. So, RP1 is equal to R4 parallel. I use this symbol. Two lines na nagparallel. So, R4 parallel R3. So, there's the given. Kayo na mag-solve niyan. I will leave it to you. So, may instruction naman ako kung ano yung gagawin nyo, diba? So, ito, i-parallel nyo yan. After nyo na parallel to R4 at saka R3, let's assume na isa na lang yung nandito, nawala na yan. Ito na lang yung natirang, nawala na ito. Ito na lang yung natirang resistor which is the RP1. So, kung ano yung result, yun siya ang dito. So, ano yung magiging connection niya sa R2? Diba magiging series. So, R2 becomes series with RP1. So, kapag series in resistors, we have to just add RP1 and R2. So, kung ano yung maging, nandito yung R2, 1 kilo ohm, and yung result kanina sa parallel nilang dalawa, yun yung RP1 mo, i-add mo lang. So, that's our RS1 or resistor series 1. Okay? I just made a variable for that. So, pwede kayo actually maka-assign kahit anong variable para dyan. Pero, yan ang ginamit ko para mas madali. Hindi na malibog. And, making the circuit more simple, kunin natin yung RT. What's the total circuit? The total resistance. Isa na lang ang natira dito, di ba? Isa na lang. The RS1. Wala na itong iba. Isa na lang kasi na-combine naman natin. The last connection is parallel. Total resistance is equal to the RS1 parallel sa R1 or sa 20 ohm resistance. So, the answer should be 19.64. Kaya na mag-solve. Try nyo yan. Another example. This one, it's quite complicated as you may look at it. Diba? Pero saan kayo mag-start? Walang source. But there's this open connection. Let's just, tawag yan. Let's don't mind the open connection. Pero kung saan yung circuit na, dun tayo mag-start sa innermost. Kumbaga, yung kung saan yung complicated, pwede nyo yun yung unahin. Tapos saka dun sa labas. Pero mas madali kung dito tayo magsimula sa rightmost. As you can see, R9 and R8 are in series connection. So, pwede nyo yang i-series muna, which is RS1. Resistance series 1. R9 plus R8. So, andyan naman sa given, 100 plus 1K. So, that should be 1,100 kilo ohm. 1,100 ohm or 1.1 kilo ohms. Next, na-series mo na yan. So, imagine natin na isa na lang natira dyan. Wala na yung, kumbaga wala na ito, isa na lang natira dyan. Anong next? Since complicated pa ito, gawin mo natin itong simple bago natin ito i-join sa kanila. Bago natin i-join yung RS1, gawin muna natin simple itong isa. Okay? What's the connection of R6 and R7? That's also series. Series connection. So, RS2. RS2, R6 plus R7. So, andyan sa given yung kanilang equivalent resistances. So, pwede mo na i-add diretso. What's next? I-diretso na ba natin siya i-combine sa RS1? Not yet, because meron pa ring R5. Anong connection nila? RS2 becomes parallel with R5. So, let's say that's RP1. That's our first parallel connection. I-parallel mo natin yung RS2 and R5. Remember, RS2 is the series of these two. I-series mo muna yung result, yun yung i-parallel mo sa R5. Next, na-parallel mo na, naging simple na sila, naging isa na lang. So, meron pa yung RS1. Anong next mong gagawin? Yan, RS1 and RP1, i-parallel. RS1 and RP1 parallel. So, that will be our RP2. This one. This becomes our RP2. And next, naging RP2 na yan. Ano sunod? Meron pa itong R4. RP2 and R4. Parang ma-imagine mo, itong RP2 na to, isa na lang siya dito na circuit. Isang resistance na lang. Nawala na yung iba. Imagine mo dito na isa na lang natira. And that is RP2. So, the connection will be series with R4. So, there's the given R4 is 2K. I-series mo yan sa result ng RP2. Then, that is our RS3 or resistance series 3. What's next? Ano mo na siya? Na-series mo na. So, that means isa na lang na naman dito. Wala na yan. Isa na lang dito na resistance. I-combine mo natin agad dito or gawin mo natin itong simple. Since meron dito pang dalawa. This connection is in parallel. And that's our RP3. So, i-parallel mo natin yung R2 and R3. Pagkatapos siya ma-parallel, isa na lang natira na naman dyan, isa na naman kasi kung kinombine mo na, magiging series yung RP3 and R1. After mo na series, i-combine mo na yung itong RS3. RS3, di ba dito yan? May imagine mo na wala na yan lahat. Isang resistance na lang. So, dalawang resistance na lang. RP3, isa dito, at saka isa dito. Parang simple circuit. What's the connection? It is in parallel. So, it is in parallel. So, the last solving for the total resistance is in parallel. So, RS4 parallel RS3. Answer should be 1.03 kilo ohms. Pag nakuha niyo yan, so tama yung solution niyo. Pag hindi, anyway, andito na yung solution. Sundin niyo na lang yung gagawin ko. Pero mas maganda yung isolve niyo ng inyo talaga. Yung walang tingin-tingin dito, you try it solving on your own, and then that's how you learn. Okay? An example of KVL. Using the Kershaw's voltage law. Find the current through the 470 ohm resistor by first combining the sources into a single voltage source. As you can see, if we're going to examine the circuit, we have how many sources of voltage? We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 3 volts, 5 volts, 1 volt, and 2 volts. And as you can also observe, the direction of the current I is counterclockwise. Our current here, or the direction of our current, is our guide on how to solve for the voltage, for the total voltage of the circuit. And we only have one resistance. So, if we're going to solve for the total voltage, itong unang masugat-an nga sign sa direction sa I, yun yung ating susundin. Okay? The first polarity of the voltage source yung ating gagamitin. So here's the solution. Positive 3 plus 5, since negative yung una niyang pag nasugatan sa 1, there is a 1 volt, negative 1, then plus man plus 2. So, isolve mo yan, total mo yan, the total voltage is 9 volts. 3 plus 5, 8 minus 1, 7 plus 2, that's 9 volts. Oh, sagol binisaya na niya. And since we only have one resistance, and we already know the total voltage in this circuit, we can make use of Ohm's law to solve for the I, or the current I. I is equal to, diba, VIR. So, VIR, using solving for I in that formula or Ohm's law, I is equal to voltage divided by resistance. So, the total voltage in the circuit, which is 9 volts, divided by 470 ohms. And that is equal to 19.15 milliampere of current. Okay, thank you very much. That's all.
I never made it, but I know I